173, KDEC 9, 962, 99th Avenue and Lower Buckeye Road. Engine 173, KDEC 9.
What up, tubers? Yeah, it's your old pal Jackhammer Mike with another lame video. I mentioned something yesterday, and our old pal, the contingency plan, said, "Hey, dude, you ought to make a video of that thing. I've never seen those, never heard of them until you mentioned it." And like, really? Okay. Yeah, I think people might be interested in it. I made a quick reference to it yesterday, and I think they're fantastic. I got everybody in the family one for Christmas. Merry Christmas. It's a present I hope you never have to use. So, this is called the water bob. Okay? And what it is a 100-gallon bag, basically. It's not a very heavy-duty bag. You certainly couldn't hike with it. You couldn't just let it stand alone. I think the stress of the water would flatten it. But what it's designed to do is go into your bathtub. And it's got a plastic hook, just a plastic bag opening type of thing, a sleeve, so to speak. And it goes up to the nozzle of your bathtub. And what you do is basically you turn on your cold water and let it rip, and fill it as much as you possibly can before the water goes off. If you have a flood area, or you're involved in a flood, I got to tell you about this. This is fantastic. I just love it. The more I play with it, the more I love it. Anyway, so let's say you're in an area in New Orleans, something like that. You got a flood, hurricane comes in, flooded everywhere, whatever. The water's contaminated. Well, hopefully before the water system even got shut down, you could use this, and you fill up your bathtub with it. I happen to have 2 bathtubs and a shower, because once you put this in a bathtub, that bathtub is no longer usable. You can't take a bath in it, so you'll have to bathe somewhere else. So I'm lucky I have 2 tubs and a shower, so we've got that handled. But maybe an earthquake, California, I'm sending one of my son. If somehow it knocks out the water system, they're going to say, well, dude, if the water system's knocked out, how are you going to fill that? Well, the system might be knocked out, but a lot of systems are gravity fed, and a lot of systems actually retain pressure for a while until the system is drained. Okay, so even though you shut off the water, it might take it a while for it to finally stop running. So, you have an earthquake, you ought to deploy this the minute you can, the minute you can. Get this in the tub, deploy it, start filling it, and go from there. What else? Maybe the grid goes down. Well, the pumps aren't going to work if the grid goes down, but again, you're going to have some gravity-fed water pressure still. So you have a blackout, deploy it. And they're inexpensive enough. I mean, I think it was about 38-ish. I'll give you the link on Amazon where I got them. I think it was 38-ish piece. They're not super expensive. They're not really cheap, but they're not really super expensive. But if you have to deploy it, hey, do it. I don't know if you could reuse it. You might be able to. I'm thinking that you're going to have a hard time getting all the water out of it, getting it dried out, and getting it to a point where you could fold it back up and reuse it. Maybe. I think I would try, just before I would throw it away. You might not be able to put it back in the box, but you could put it, definitely, roll it up and store it somehow. I don't know. But yeah, there's all sorts of reasons to have these things. Stick it underneath your bathroom sink. It's right there. My bathtub happens to be right next to, in the guest bath anyway. The tub is right next to the toilet. So if for some reason I had this thing filled up, it comes with a suction siphon device. I don't know how long the hose is. I'm going to assume it's not very long, but you could rig it in such a way that you could drain this thing somewhat into the bathtub or the toilet. If not, you might be just taking buckets at a time out and dumping it. Organ donor, nice. What else is on here? Okay, it comes with the pump. Again, it's better than just filling up your bathtub with water, because you're going to have leftover soap debris, shit on the side of your bathtub and all. No matter how clean it is, if somebody goes in and takes a shower, then that tub is now contaminated. And will it hurt you? No. When you're filtering the water, it's not going to bother you. If you boil the water, not going to bother you. But this it's in self-contained, it's enclosed. You're not going to get bugs and dust and whatever's in it. So say for instance, maybe you fill this thing up in your bathtub, yet the water's still flowing. What are you going to do? Well, of course you're going to use the water sources first rather than digging into your reservoir. Fill up buckets of water. Fill up, 5-gallon jugs of water. Hell, this thing replaces 20 of these. These are 5-gallon jugs. Okay, and this is 100 gallons, so that's 20 of these bad boys. That's nice. And it's in a place that's out of the way. Not going to interfere with anything. I don't have 20 freaking jugs of water hanging out all over the place. Not to say that there's not a purpose for those. There definitely is. You've seen it already. We already cached them. But in the home, if your water's still flowing, fill this thing up and start getting the water out of another sink or a hose or hose bib. Don't use the garden hose. The water's nasty. Even though most of us old timers were drinking out of a garden hose in summer times anyway. I always used to drink out of a garden hose. Didn't hurt me at all. So anyway, that's it. That's the water blob. Again, about $30-something. It's under $40. Free shipping, I believe. Buy yourself a couple. They're awesome. And again, it's the gift that keeps on giving, but you hope you never have to use. Maxwell, come here. He's alerted on something. Max, come here. Foo. Door. Say hi to the tubers. Hey, what up, tubers? Tubers? Okay, the gift that keeps on giving, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I'm out, except for the fact that, wait, I want to tell you something. What I have programmed on here right now, not much. I've got my, trying to schedule my test next weekend. So I've got a phone call and an email into the person in charge and trying to get that squared away. But what I've got here and what I've been finding out is I have Phoenix, well, they call it Phoenix Fire Dispatch, yet they are dispatching units all over Maricopa County. So I'm not sure how the system works, but they dispatch units all over the county. And what is cool about it is that, for one, I've been in this valley for a long time, so I have been driving it, as a service plumber forever. So it's like I know every inch of this valley, and I know where all these calls are. But in the case of maybe civil unrest, a riot, whatever, you'll start hearing fire dispatch going. The police, not so much. My favorite call that I hear on here a lot, there are a lot of overdoses, but I also hear this thing called altered state of consciousness. And every time I do that, I think of some stupid ass liberal out there freaking out over some fucking Trump thing or something. Somebody got triggered by a Trump bumper sticker or something. Altered state of consciousness. I'm not sure exactly what it means, but I have a feeling it's probably some retard out there freaking out over something and not being rational. So it's awesome. But again, you can hear fire dispatch, and when the action starts happening, they'll start sending units out, and if it's really bad, they'll send more units out. And I've heard that a couple times on here. Like a car accident, they'll send a couple units out, and then all of a sudden they need an extraction team, and they'll send some specialist out or who knows what. When you have an apartment fire, I've heard 2 of them. They send out a ton. It sounds like, it's like Bladder this, battalion something, snorkel truck, fire tender, not a snorkel, but fire tender. Just all these crazy things that they send out for an apartment fire. It's awesome. So it's a very handy thing to have, because if you have civil unrest and all of a sudden you're starting having riots and stuff, you're going to hear dispatch on here talking about it. You might not necessarily hear the police. They have a whole different system that they use, and you certainly won't hear any of the tactical teams, because they have a completely encrypted shit that nobody can hear. They don't want anybody hearing it, because obviously that gives away their position. The fire's a great indicator on what's going on. Maxwell, come here. Come on, Max. Come on, buddy. Max, come here. He's molesting the neighborhood kids. Alright, well, I had a little youngster walk by, and Max is out there sizing him up, seeing if he was good for a snack or not. Little redhead kid, so I don't know if Max I don't know about little redheaded kids. They don't taste very good. I don't know. Okay, so anyway, the ham radio, awesome. Learning more and more about it. I also learning the unfortunate part of it. I'm learning about the capabilities and the non-capabilities. Shortwave radio is definitely going into this thing. Even though this can pick up some stuff, shortwave gets a lot more. And it gets what they call upper and lower sidebands, which gives you just a lot more room, and it gives you a lot more capabilities to receive. This is only 2 meter and 70 centimeters. You need some other bands. And the shortwave will also pick up a lot of other emergency radio stations that this one can't. So that and a scanner. Now I just learned about the scanner part of it, that a decent scanner is going to run you a couple $100. But what they have, not only are they scanning for emergency services, and they pick up all that, and especially some really frequencies that you can't get on some of these other things, but they have this thing called either quick locate or I can't remember what the name of it was, but say for instance, no matter what frequency somebody's using, whether it's a handheld walkie-talkie or a ham or anything else, if you're within a couple 100 feet of the scanner, it picks it up and it locks onto that. So it can actually tell you and listen in on conversations around you that you might not be able to see or hear. You might not know there's people around you. If there's somebody around me that's 100 feet or a couple 100 feet, maybe that's 100 yards away, and I got like dudes coming in on us at Camp Contingency, we'll be able to hear them in that scanner. And then we'll be able to hear them talking back and forth, because it picks up all local, all close range transmissions. So that's a cool little feature that I had no idea even existed. That's definitely a very strategic, tactical device to have. That's actually, I'm going to get that before I get this, the shortwave radio. It would be nice to have, a local comms on a scanner or something that can pick up anything that's in the area. Okay, not just you have to be tuned to the station, which is this. This will scan, but it just scans through the frequencies that this can pick up. That scanner, it can pick up everything. So, you know, you got guys on, you know, handy talkies, walkie talkies, their own comms or whatever. They're gonna be given away. You'll be able to hear them. So that's a great feature. I can't wait to get that. I can't wait to show you. And I know it's going a little bit long because I really just wanted to talk about the water bomb, but I'm really stoked about the ham radio so far. So, all right, with that, I am